There's a hidden psychological pattern that determines whether your grandchildren genuinely light up when they see you or merely tolerate your presence. Most grandparents are completely unaware of it, but child development experts have identified the exact formula that creates magnetic connection. What if you could transform your relationship with your grandchildren starting today? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how. What makes certain grandparents so memorable that their grandchildren still talk about them decades later? It's not about expensive gifts or being the fun grandparent who breaks all the rules. The truth is far more powerful and accessible to anyone willing to learn. The bond between grandparents and grandchildren offers something unique that even parents can't provide. A relationship free from primary discipline responsibility, rich with wisdom, and uniquely positioned to offer unconditional acceptance. But this potential often remains untapped because most grandparents rely on outdated connection methods that simply don't work with today's children. Modern neuroscience and child psychology have uncovered the precise elements that create deep, meaningful connections across generations. This isn't about manipulating children into liking you. It's about understanding how their developing brains and emotions respond to different interaction styles. Let's break down this formula for creating genuine excitement and connection. Most grandparents make the critical mistake of believing that surprise visits or gifts create the strongest connections. But research shows that anticipation actually creates more powerful emotional responses than surprise. The brain's reward centers activate more strongly when we can look forward to something enjoyable. When interactions with grandparents are unpredictable or lack a consistent rhythm, children can't build anticipation. Without anticipation, each visit becomes an isolated event rather than part of an ongoing relationship narrative. The most memorable grandparents understand what neuroscientists call anticipatory joy, the pleasure derived from looking forward to positive experiences. This emotion is particularly powerful for children, whose sense of time is still developing, and who benefit enormously from knowing what to expect. Try this instead. Create what psychologists call ritual connections, consistent patterns of interaction that your grandchildren can anticipate and look forward to. This doesn't mean rigid schedules, but rather signature experiences that become associated specifically with you. This might be a special greeting only you use, a particular game you play each time, or a traditional activity you do together during visits. The specific activity matters less than its consistency. What's crucial is that your grandchild can think, "When I see grandma or grandpa, we always," and feel excitement about that anticipated experience. For example, one grandmother created a simple ritual of always having her grandchildren help make homemade hot chocolate when they arrived. The children began looking forward to this small ritual so much they would talk about it days before visits. Another grandfather established a tradition of telling one new joke during each phone call, creating anticipation for these regular conversations. The power of anticipation extends beyond in-person visits. Regular video calls that include a consistent element, like showing each other one new thing in your respective homes, create continuity and expectation that strengthens bonds even at a distance. But anticipation is just the foundation. The next component is what transforms fleeting excitement into lasting connection. Most grandparents unintentionally undermine connection. By focusing interactions on correction, comparison, or shallow praise, they point out what needs fixing, stand up straight, make comparisons. Your mother was also shy at your age. What children actually crave, at a deep neurological level, is validation of their authentic selves. Validation is different from praise. Praise evaluates "good job," while validation acknowledges "I see how hard you worked on that." Developmental psychologists have discovered that children develop stronger self-identity and emotional security when their inner experiences are recognized and validated by trusted adults. This validation creates what experts call emotional attunement, a sense of being truly seen and understood. Try this instead. Practice what child psychologists call reflective listening, mirroring back not just what your grandchild says, but the underlying emotions and efforts you observe. This sounds like you spent a lot of time arranging those blocks just the way you wanted them, instead of "what a good builder you are." The most powerful validation follows a specific pattern: observation plus acknowledgement plus question. First, observe specifically what you notice. "I see you chose different colors for each part of your drawing." Then, acknowledge the effort or thought behind it. That must have taken careful planning. Finally, ask a question that invites them to share more. What gave you the idea to use those particular colors? This approach creates what psychologists call a validation cycle, a pattern of interactions where children feel truly seen, which increases their comfort in sharing more of themselves, which provides more opportunities for validation. This positive cycle builds rapidly with consistent application. One grandfather used this approach when his granddaughter showed interest in insects. Instead of dismissing it as gross or overlooking it entirely, he observed specifically what fascinated her, acknowledged her curiosity, and asked questions that helped her explore further. This validation of her authentic interest created a connection point that lasted for years. But validation alone isn't enough for the complete formula. The next element creates the dynamic that makes your time together truly exceptional. Most grandparents accidentally position themselves as the holders of wisdom who must impart knowledge to their grandchildren. This creates a one-way relationship dynamic that feels more like instruction than connection. Children quickly learn to nod politely while waiting for the lesson to end. What creates genuine engagement is the opposite approach, positioning your grandchild as the expert and yourself as the curious learner. This role reversal activates powerful psychological rewards in the developing brain. Developmental research shows that when children get to teach or explain something to an adult who shows genuine interest, they experience increased confidence, improved articulation skills, and strengthen neural pathways associated with the information they're sharing. Try this instead. Use what education experts call guided curiosity, an approach where you position yourself as genuinely interested in learning about your grandchild's world, experiences, and perspectives. This means asking questions about topics they're knowledgeable about, whether it's their favorite video game, a book they're reading, or an activity they enjoy. The most effective curiosity follows a specific pattern. Express interest, plus ask for details, show impact. First, express genuine interest in something they care about. I've never understood how Minecraft works. Then ask for specific details that show you're truly engaged. How do you decide what to build first? Finally, share how their explanation affects you. That helps me understand why you get so excited when you find certain materials. This approach creates what psychologists call expertise moments, opportunities for children to experience themselves as competent and knowledgeable. These moments build confidence and create powerful positive associations with your relationship. One grandmother who had never played video games allowed her grandson to teach her the basics of his favorite game. She asked questions, followed his instructions, and expressed genuine appreciation for his expertise. This experience became a highlight of their relationship, not because she became a gaming enthusiast, but because she validated his knowledge and showed authentic interest in his world. The curiosity catalyst works because it flips the traditional power dynamic in a way that empowers children while maintaining appropriate boundaries. But this element works best when combined with our next principle. Most grandparents underestimate the power of shared references and inside jokes in creating lasting connection. They focus on creating big, special moments rather than building a web of shared understanding that creates belonging. Cognitive psychologists have discovered that relationships are strengthened through what they call shared mental models, overlapping understandings, references, and memories that create a sense of shared identity. For children, these shared references create a powerful sense of belonging with specific people. Try this instead. Intentionally create what relationship experts call a memory matrix, a network of shared experiences, jokes, stories, and references that become unique to your relationship with your grandchild. This doesn't require grand gestures or elaborate planning. It's about noticing and naming small moments that can become touch points in your relationship. The most effective memory building follows this pattern. Notice plus name plus recall. First, notice moments of connection or humor. That squirrel really did look like he was dancing. Then, name the experience in a memorable way. That was our disco squirrel moment. Finally, recall these named experiences periodically to strengthen their place in your shared history. Remember the disco squirrel? I saw another one today that reminded me of that. This approach creates what psychologists call relationship anchors, specific memories that serve as touch points for your unique connection. These anchors create a sense of continuity and belonging that transcends the time you spend physically together. One grandfather and his granddaughter developed several silly voices they used in specific situations. These voices became part of their relationship language, immediately recognizable signals that connected them even when they hadn't seen each other for weeks. Another grandmother created nicknames for everyday objects that became part of their special vocabulary. These memory matrices are particularly powerful because they create a sense of us, a shared identity that exists independently of the larger family system. For children, this special relationship offers something uniquely valuable, a place where they are known and understood in ways different from their relationship with parents or peers. But the memory matrix is incomplete without our final component, which elevates connection to its deepest level. Most grandparents unintentionally create emotional distance by focusing exclusively on achievements, activities, or behavior. They ask about grades, sports performance, or conduct, missing opportunities for deeper emotional connection. Developmental research shows that children thrive when they have at least one adult who serves as what psychologists call an emotional sanctuary, a safe space where their feelings are accepted without judgment or immediate problem solving. This sanctuary becomes increasingly important as children navigate the complex emotional landscape of growing up. Try this instead. Create what psychologists call emotional holding space, an environment where feelings can be expressed and acknowledged without immediate judgment or solutions. This means sometimes simply sitting with emotions rather than trying to fix them or distract from them. The most effective emotional sanctuary follows this pattern. Notice, plus, normalize, plus, navigate. First, notice emotional cues without immediately responding to them. I can see you're feeling disappointed. Then normalize the emotion by validating its presence. It's natural to feel that way when something doesn't work out as planned. Finally, offer support in navigating the feeling rather than eliminating it. Would it help to talk about it? Or would you prefer some time to think about it? This approach creates what attachment experts call emotional co-regulation, a process where adults help children learn to understand and manage their emotional experiences. This skill is fundamental to healthy development and creates profound trust between grandparent and grandchild. One grandmother created this sanctuary by establishing a simple ritual. Whenever her grandchildren visited, she would ask, "What's in your heart today?" This open question invited sharing of both positive and challenging emotions, creating space for authentic connection. Another grandfather used car rides as opportunities for deeper conversations, finding that the side-by-side positioning and lack of direct eye contact made it easier for his grandson to discuss difficult topics. The emotional sanctuary becomes particularly valuable as grandchildren enter adolescence, a time when many adults focus exclusively on behavior and achievement rather than the complex emotional landscape teenagers navigate. Grandparents who maintain this sanctuary often become trusted confidants during these challenging years. The grandparents who create genuine excitement aren't using flashy tricks or expensive outings. They're applying this powerful psychological formula: anticipation, architecture, validation vault, curiosity catalyst, memory matrix, and emotional sanctuary. Together, these elements create a relationship that children not only enjoy but actively seek out. What makes this formula so effective is that it works with the natural development of children's brains and emotional needs rather than against them. It creates connection that endures beyond individual visits or activities, a relationship your grandchildren will value throughout their lives. The most remarkable aspect of this formula is its simplicity. It doesn't require special talents, financial resources, or perfect circumstances. It simply requires intentionality about how you approach your role in your grandchildren's lives. The impact extends far beyond momentary happiness. Developmental research shows that children with strong grandparent relationships demonstrate greater resilience, stronger identity formation, and better emotional regulation skills. You're not just creating fun moments, you're contributing to their lifelong well-being. Now that you understand this formula, which element will you focus on first? Your next interaction with your grandchildren could be the beginning of a transformed relationship that brings more joy to both of you. If you found this approach helpful, take a moment to share which element of the formula resonated most with you in the comments below, or share a connection technique that's worked well with your own grandchildren. Your experience might be exactly what another grandparent needs to hear.